Tawahum Bige is a Lutsilke Dene Cree poet and spoken word artist from unceded Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territory, Vancouver. Their Scorpia moon-ass poems expose growth, resistance, and persistence as a hopeless two-spirit, non-binary sad boy on occupied Turtle Island. In typical Aries Sun fashion, Tawahum completed the first ever Indigenous spoken word residency at their Banff Center in 2018 while completing their BA in creative writing from Kwantlen Polytechnic University in 2019. He's performed at Talking Stick Festival versus Festival of Spoken Word, Canadian Festival of Spoken Word, and at over 50 different venues from Victoria to Toronto with his mixture of poetry and hip hop. Past the stage and onto the page. Tawahum has been published in over a dozen different lit journals and magazines, including Red Rising Magazine, Prairie Fire, CV2, Arc Poetry Magazine, and most recently the anthology Beyond Earth's Edge, The Poetry of Spaceflight. A prolific word artist, Tawahum has 3 self-published chapbooks with poetry collections on the way, including a collection in progress funded by the Canada Council of Arts. Beyond the page, Tawahum has battled the injustice system of BC and was eventually incarcerated for a 28-day sentence after a 2-year battle for his land protection work against Kinder Morgan Trans Mountains pipeline expansion. Thank you. Of course, this doesn't stop him from grabbing a boom mic to amplify his words of resistance and resurgence at frontline rallies, street performances, and more.
I've got some poems for y'all. I found myself invigorated by what Sherry D. Wilson had to say. Lovely to work with you again, Sherry D., after doing our work last month together. So instead of my first poem, which I've read for years now, I'm just going to talk a little bit about hopelessness as a whole, because I think it's like real easy to be hopeless. And at first when I heard like, I don't do hope, I was like, yo, but we like our younger generations, we need some stuff, right? But then when I heard like the definition and like all the ways it was being explored, that's exactly what I talk about essentially when I tell people not to be hopeless. So it's really interesting to me because there are things we have to do in order to make it so that this planet is livable for us. And if we don't do it, it's not going to be livable for us. And people need to understand that. And people need to understand that, like, if we do those things, the planet will also be livable for us. Like, that isn't even a question of hope when you really think about it. It's a question of whether we do it or not. And that's like a very realistic question, one that hope doesn't play into. And I really vibe with that because I'm not even necessarily concerned for the planet. Like, I love the planet. I love life. I love all of existence. I'm in praise of all of this universe, always. All life is very, very precious here. But I'm not even concerned because the planet's giving us a chance to live here. That's what the planet's doing right now. That's what she's been doing for, since time immemorial. And that's what she'll continue doing until we continue to break our contract being a sacred one that we made with the land when we first existed here. No matter where you go, there was a first people that was in touch with the land and was in touch with what Christians might call magic, some devil worshiping, whatever, you want to call it. But really it was just like people in touch with their land, with their ancestors, and with the like spirit of that land. And that spirit made an agreement with each of us about how to conduct ourselves on that land. Colonialism is a literal opposite to that. It's about building new contracts with no respect for nature. If we continue to break our contract with nature, we will all perish. Simple as that. Like, there's no, that's what invigorated me. Like, no beating around the bush. How do we make it so that people will join us? Like, I can't make you love the land, but I also can't make the land not love you. The land loves you. The land loves you. And I didn't even fully like recognize it until I read it in Braiding Sweetgrass fully. Cool. I just saw a message and there's somebody in here with a name that is identical to my sister's. And then we just figured that out. It's not my sister. I was like, is it you? My sister? But anyway, yeah, that was just a thought that flew through my mind in this moment. But yeah, I honestly think that if we just continue to do what we're doing, we're gonna like lose it. You can't make people fall in love with the land. People are already in love with the land. They just need to hear it. And they don't hear it when you're like super just calm and gentle with them. Like you just the vastness of this planet is not calm. You even go down the Sunset Beach and it is aggressively vast. It's just aggressive. And that's the planet's just doing her thing. Like that's how that goes. And I know I've like ranted for a couple minutes and now it's like time for some poems. But that essentially was the time of my first poem. So yeah, I've got some poems. I've got some stuff that's got a little bit of like a minor music track that's attached, so you'll hear some of that. And I'm not gonna take up too much of your time. I'm probably gonna spit 4 poems at you maybe. And this first one's called Mr. Beck's New Evidence. Call it the ex-cop diaries of the traveling hierarchies. Needle-nosed executive suite. It's conjecture, my lord, but I believe he does cocaine. This man put men in cuffs for 36 years before becoming security manager for Trans Mountain. He dons a Harper haircut and he stands with entitlement abreast of red-coated, fur-traded, gold-mined, court-ordered, fort-bordered, drawn-quartered, pox-spreaded, deregulated, wealth-hoarded, mass-sacred, live-backward, booze-smuggled, gun-holstered, blade-scabbard, treaty-brokered, baby-boomer, divide-conquered, townhouse-gated, clan-fated, children taken, bloodbath-weighted, correctly stated, minds erased and Canadian valued, settler soldier. Except, instead of spreading disease and igniting cannon, he watches cameras and pushes pencils to lay his pipes to rest. They lay pipes to rest, my spirit wakes again. Workers stand abreast, wearing reflective vests. Police checkpoint ahead while their judge sits on a bench. Forest blaze across continents, you'll smell this putrid stench. Trucker high on a seat, Merson AR-15, smelling diesel fuel, green sludge, thick maple leaf, a quill, an inkwell, injunction registry, trading furs, lies, gold coins and beads. Bucket, we are the crab without a treaty. It's with enclosure they seize the land, yo. Their laws are bullshit, discarding their own science lab. Whispers an English courtroom where they set the trap. Trans Mountain's camp, intricate path shown on Google Maps. Overtime clocked and bacon sizzling for cash. Bitumen sinking in the wake of wrath. When the eagle feather burns, it will all turn to ash. Masicho, hi. The second one's called Bars of Pipe. And got a few more poems for y'all. We're taking a journey into some of the work I have done that ended me up like my bio said. Who wrote that bio anyway? Guy's long-winded. So I wrote this in jail. It's called Unlocker. The tall locker beside my bunk is empty. It contains bread I refuse to eat, 2 white towels, evening blue empty cups, bowl, a concrete canteen of sugar that will not set, and this journal. The rain drip heard over air conditioning. There is nothing in the metal gray painted walls. I cannot fit my grandfather's lanky skeleton in this now comparatively dwarfed locker, though his bones rattle me from sleep on the bunk beside that iron cavity. The locker is locked behind my cell door, yet open to my consumption. And so I empty myself in each swallowed packet of iodized salt I become, looking back out from a sheriff's paddy wagon. This container is not the last hollow vessel I will be devoid of, while similarly hollow gray metal tubes make an ink-stained snake's plumbing where once was gray marrow of an also hollow country. I sip purchased Nestle hot chocolate while admiring the art of postcards adorned with the images of once filled nations, as in, they were filled once, but cannot be wholly emptied. White shines moments later. The moon, a guard's flashlight, the empty gesture, not to ascertain my body's location, but to force my spirit into ether back into that body. Blessed, I had already arrived. The single wooden staff posted in a cemetery of crosses in the faraway place I just visited is Setzi's filled grave. I return to a blank, gray, rain-filled night beside this locker. In a place so full of empty, I still see back, below, and forward. I smell sweet nothing on cement. The flood closes. Oh man, I can't remember what the Palestinian poet's name is right now, but I read it. One of the land defenders I was in there with, named Uncle Stacy, his dear one, Rita Wong, who's a brilliant poet, who if you didn't know about her, you should Google that name. She sent me that poem, like a poem from this guy in jail, and so that's where I wrote that poem from. Yeah, so this next piece is called Extinguishing Fires, and then I got a real short piece after that, and then you're free for the night. How's that sound? Yeah? All right, cool. I saw a chuckle. I don't care what anybody else says. Here, this is called Extinguishing Fires. Here with you guards reminding us that we don't control where we go. As if your uniform and my cell don't do the trick. Of course I bang and yell and start fires when the power goes out, when I can't leave my cell, when I can't even tell you guards to go to hell without a steel door between you and me, them and us. While I am here, our shared common ground is rage and hate, a uniform power trip. Must be easy when you see red in my slacks, but don't see me in street clothes. Easy for you, guard, to bear fangs, make threat, assert self. I hold respect for the held disrespect by him, prisoner, for you. He spit in your face, despite consequence, a fit thrown in an unfit punishment. Power amongst the powerless. And you guards reminding us, while he set the fire, this is your house, as if there was any doubt. Only you get paid to live here to put it out. You cops in the precinct, you sheriffs at the court, you guards of the prison, you wolves in the skin of little pig. Yo, you don't blow the house down. You erect it around us, cinder brick by brick, iron bar by bar, clear-cut log by log. And we still bang on the wall, rattle against the cage, spark match to flint. And it ain't for some grand principle. Yo, just give us our TVs. Let him take a shower. I need to call my love. All of it takes thunder, and I would take yours before you ours. All of it takes power. I'd rather you less if it meant we full. But you guards would rather keep it all on the other side of wall and bar, on the other side of cell door. The baton, the key, and the fire extinguisher. When flames erupt, how else could it go? You beat the prisoner, lock the door, and take the credit for putting out a fire you started. So that's that poem. I literally, someone was just tweaking on a guard, and I wrote this while that was all going on because I didn't know what to do while I was inside my cell listening to this tweak out happen besides write. In fact, I spent most of that 28-day sentence writing with a dull little pencil until eventually the canteen came around and I got a pen, and I was just amazed. And I also, the little story I'll tell about the short poem I'm about to read is that I came across Patrick Lane's work in an anthology of Canadian literature while I was in jail. And it was like an ancient Canlit anthology from the 70s. Ancient, at least in terms of Canada's history, you know what I mean? It's like almost prehistoric. But what do you call it? You know, I took out Duncan Campbell Scott's pages from the anthology and did with them what we do with John Mack statues, you know? You know, he's the first Indian Affairs minister who wrote a lot about Indians. So, you know, he can get effed. And then I found Leonard Cohen's work. Everyone was always like, read Leonard Cohen, read Leonard Cohen. I was like, but you know, he's actually pretty dope. I just had to go to jail before I was willing to read him. And then Patrick Lane, who is a bomb, just an absolute bomb while I was there. And so this is the end of Cages after Patrick Lane's The Bird. I am a bird, beak pecking graces from a feeder before taking flight to build a nest in front of a tank farm. Hands clasped around me that I could not fly from. My feathers become blood and bone rattling on iron bars. I am told I will die handled, but they handle me anyway. My only wings are words, beating on painted cinder block, cracking open glass window. This poem is a bird, flitting free from the gaps in the steel grate, clasped over the window. And that's my poem. That's my set. It was brilliant to share it all with you. If you want to find me on social media, I am on Instagram. It's my first name, just like that. And I hope y'all have a lovely night. You know, every day is really Earth Day. You know, if you put your mind to it, you know, that's what they say. And by they, I literally mean me. So I'm sure someone else has said it. You know what I mean? It's like flown out there in the ether. Yeah. So yeah, big love.